Welcome to the Copy Talk podcast. Discussions in this show should not be construed as specific recommendations or investment advice. Always consult with your investment professional before making important investment decisions. Securities offered through registered representatives of Cambridge Investment Research Incorporated, a broker-dealer member, FINRA SIPC. Advisory services through Cambridge Investment Research Advisors Incorporated, a registered investment advisor. Financial planning services through Lighthouse Financial, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Shannon Ross is CEO and managing partner of Lighthouse Financial. Lighthouse and Cambridge are not affiliated. And now, here's your host, Shannon Ross.
Well, welcome everyone to Copy Talk. We are in the heart of February. How is everybody? How are you?
I'm
Cash
good.
Cow.
I love
That's
this
her hat for the day. Welcome everyone. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're staying warm in these frigid temperatures.
At least it's frigid in Colorado.
We had snow again today where we were a little concerned that we weren't going to make it again.
I know.
But it wasn't as bad as we thought.
I'm over it.
We're here and you're here. So thank you for joining.
Thanks for joining.
Yes, we just finished a series last week. I can't remember what was named. The Big Bear.
Not the Big Bear.
No.
Avoiding
Prepare
for the bear. It's our own show. We couldn't even remember the topics.
I know. 1 week. It feels like a long time.
It really does. I'm like, is it?
I know.
That seems like eons
we
ago.
get to start something new today.
I know. I'm excited about this one. This is going to be good.
It is. I really enjoyed preparing for this one because it's kind of funny. It's a little cheeky and it's really interesting. But before we get there. Cheeky. Is that our new word?
I like that. It's cheeky.
But how's your week going so far? How are you?
It's good. Yeah. I mean, I'm over the snow.
Well, yeah, I'm sure
really
most
over the
of
snow.
us
I'm done.
out there
I know. If you're listening in from Colorado and you're slapping me on the hand, you're like, we need the moisture. I know. I hear you. I get it. I'm over driving in the snow.
I know. My weather, on my weather app, I don't know.
I
there
lost
goes
my
the
pen.
What I don't know why I do this, but I load places I'd rather live, and I look every day at those places, and it makes me sad. So I don't know why I do it, but
is that why you know where the weather is where my husband is right now?
Her husband is in Palm Springs, and I told her last night it's
Golfing.
70 degrees at like 8 p.m.
Yes,
last night.
His life is rough for him right now. He is in the 70s. It's beautiful, and he's playing PGA courses.
Well, but let's be honest. There is some strategy to letting him go on this trip.
There's an ace in my pocket for this
one. And we have to work hard on these things because we've been on parole for a while for our girls' trips because of the damage we did in New York City, 2-3 years ago?
That's 2019.
2019. So we are trying to organize a legitimate girls' trip in April for your birthday.
My birthday.
I let my husband go on a toys trip last weekend. You're letting your husband go this weekend, all with the...
Not weekend.
Weekend.
He
goes longer.
He's gone for a week.
So we're adding all of our chips.
I'm leveraging.
And planting the seeds. So like when my husband was gone, I was like, hey, I think April and I are going to, think about... Because he had to be gone when I said it. So thinking about...
Oh, mine does too.
So now this your turn
we're
to plant
totally
seed.
sharing this if they...
I know. They don't listen because of this stuff because they don't want to know.
I think they're afraid of how much we might embarrass them, especially with their Max Out
how much
t-shirts.
we disclose.
Yeah. So I am going to leverage that, and I will be bringing it up this week and telling him where we want to stay.
Yes.
Although I kind of want to up the ante.
Ooh.
On the stay.
Oh.
We'll talk about it later.
All right. Well,
it could still be the same for you.
As long as it's warm where we go, I don't care.
I know.
I don't care.
Warmth.
So I'll stay wherever.
Yeah, I know.
So
we need to get out of town.
Yes. Did you have any sanity spends?
My sanity spend was with you. We did a double date.
We did do a double date, which is the first date I've been on for a while. So that was fun.
This is what I wanted to share. So if you have listened to our show for any length of time, you've heard us, and you too, of course, have seen the Max Out Partner t-shirts and our husbands work out to whatever, and we're all friends. So Valentine's Day night, we drove over to the house to meet them. True story. We walk in their house, and our husbands have on basically the exact same outfit. They have on gray pants.
Very specific.
Black,
yes.
Slightly, don't think V-neck here, like slightly V-neck, black t-shirt, a blazer, beanies, and both have on Nike sneakers.
They were twinsies.
You not.
It
was the funniest. And Justin was like, I think I should go change. I'm like, oh no, this is great show content. Nobody's changing. Cannot believe we didn't get a picture that night.
I know we should have. But
yes, so funny.
I think working out together, they're becoming like more and more converged.
And we were like polar opposite colors that night. Normally we look more like, no, it was so funny. It was pretty funny.
It was fun though. Went
to an old
school Italian place. I ate way too much.
It was good.
Whew. But
I know.
Anyways, that was fun.
Yeah.
And so now we're back at it this week.
And speaking of spending,
yes.
Tell everybody what we're talking about.
So we're introducing a new series today called Spending for the Ages.
Mm-hmm.
I love this series because it's all about spending habits for your generation. So we have a very diverse audience on the show. They're mainly women, but in terms of ages, I always say we have ages from 25 to 75 listen to the show. Yeah. So that's a 50-year span. So you'll be surprised, I think, as we go through these next few weeks of how different some of the spending habits are per generation.
This was surprising.
So we're going to focus on 3 generations, the baby boomers, the Gen Xers, and the millennials, because that's obviously covering the span of audience. And I'll go through just so you all can know at home where you land if you don't know which one you are. Most people do.
I'm a millennial.
But no, she's not. We just had this conversation. She wants to be a millennial because she denies her age, which I won't share on air.
To Google.
But you are a Gen Xer.
I'm a millennial.
I'm sorry, you're not a millennial.
Ryan's saying yes, I am. Ryan's on my side.
You spend like a Gen Xer, so I'm going to put you in that category.
That well played. Well played.
That confirms it. So if you're on the edge,
right into
listen to how might you spend, and that will tip you over to what generational category you might consider.
True.
So,
yeah.
So we'll go over that in a minute. And I think it's important because we're also going to cover budgeting. So we're going to talk about spending habits, kind of what are the things that, or maybe some challenges each generation has, what kind of pitfalls they might be falling into, and you might be finding yourself in that same category. And then what to do about it. So no matter age, what are some recommended from different levels of experts out there who, give budgetary advice for a living? What should it be? Because there's obviously a lot of different rules. There's the 80-20 rule. There's a 50-30-20 budget rule, and then there's a 70-20-10 rule. So we're going to go over what those are, what those differences are. And I know
I've never heard of any of those in my life.
Well,
never once.
I don't think you really budget based on our other shows. We already had it. Remember, we had that show last year, and we called it the B word, and it was the budget. And you can go back and listen because you totally said that you don't budget. You don't know what your budget is.
Well, I was hoping nobody remembered that show.
And
budget?
And I think my suggestion on that show was to start getting one. And that was like maybe a year ago. And how you doing on that?
Budget. I budget up here.
I think I just spit all over the microphone.
Well, I think
I
got you. It's all right. I'm good. There was a dirt spot on my jeans there anyway. Thanks. No, I budget up here, and per whatever it is I'm going to buy, I think, does that fit into the budget? I think so.
And then you're willing to, like, with red dress or, different places you'd love to spend money, maybe make some tweaks here and there. Like, do I really need dinner? No, I'll get myself a dress.
Oh, yeah. That's a no.
I would say clothes maybe are the one of your favorite categories that you spend money on.
Yeah, but I don't feel like I spend a lot of money on clothing items.
Okay.
I might like to buy clothes.
We each have our own. Yeah. Hey, we each have our own spending. I like to spend my money on food and good wine, and those are probably my 2 highest spending categories.
Food and wine. Well, food because you got a lot of.
I'd rather go to Goodwill and get some good thrift deals and buy a good bottle of wine. Deals.
Yes, I don't.
I feel
clothing is something I definitely spend money on. I think self-care. I'm willing to drop a dime on some self-care.
That's very
probably more than clothes.
Oh, that might be sure. That's a good point.
But that's for my soul and psyche.
Yeah. Well, and that's maybe
it fits
where
in my budget.
Where you tend to do a more millennial spending. So you're right on that edge.
See, I told you I'm a millennial.
You really are a Gen Xer, but you maybe have millennial tendencies. Maybe that's where you can spend your youth in terms
I just believe in Google. That's all. Anyways.
So if you're wondering out there what category you fall in, most people know if they're baby boomers or not, because obviously it's actually the largest category in our country. There's over 74 million baby boomers out there. Baby boomers coming out of the whole World War II movement. A lot of people had babies after the war. That's what kind of...
Hence the baby boom.
And a lot of those baby boomers, so born 1946 to 1964. So that would give you a range. You're either listening to my voice, you're between 58 and 76 that you're a baby boomer. And what's so interesting to me as we're going to give you highlights today and then we'll go into the specifics on our next show, but baby boomers live so much differently than their parents. And think about it for a second, your parents versus your grandparents. So one of the things that make baby boomers so unique is how much they spend, how much debt they're willing to carry, and certain things like that. So I think of my grandparents who were the generation before the boomers.
Yeah.
When you think of your grandparents, they never had, huge houses. They were very modest. They usually had it paid off.
Yep.
They always had their car paid off. Like, I don't even think there was such thing as a car loan back then. I mean, most people I know had, like, grandparents had their cars paid off. They were very methodical and didn't carry debt.
The debt thing for sure. Yeah. Although I didn't know that baby boomers, I guess because I only know my parents.
Sure.
I didn't know baby boomers carried that much debt. I didn't know that was.
And what they're willing to still carry on mortgages, credit cards, auto loans, home equity loans. Let's see, about a year ago, older borrowers, so let's call it 60 plus, held higher per capita balances in every debt category except credit card debt compared to the same study done in 2003. So they're willing, and I think of a lot of baby boomers I know, they still have mortgages on their home. They want bigger homes. So they want, I see more baby boomers, like maybe if they can't float all of that and they get ready to retire, they'll downgrade. Yeah. But right up into retirement and even maybe take a shot at it in retirement, keep their debt sheet pretty high.
I guess I'm just so used to my parents, and they are polar opposites of that.
Yeah.
I guess that's my
across the map. But there's so many studies that actually prove that.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
But baby boomer spending power is legitimate. I mean, if you're 60 plus, your aggregate spending makes up about 33% of our spending ratios in this country. If you're over 50, it's 50%. So even the over 50 category. And so, baby boomers are a very lucrative market. If you're doing market research, like we talked about in our building business series, cater to the boomers because they have money to spend and they will spend it. But yeah, their spending behavior, they contribute around $2.6 trillion of consumer spending, which is a huge number.
That's a huge number.
And so, and a lot of my clients obviously are baby boomers at Lighthouse. And, more and more when I'm doing their financial plans, the budgets I'm working with, I would say before, if I had older clients that were before the baby boomer age, their annual spend budgets were, usually around $60,000, $75,000. Most of the baby boomers I work with today, they're hoping for $150,000, $175,000 of annual expenses, which is quite high. So in order to retire at that lifestyle limit, they need...
What are they spending it on?
Quite a bit. A lot of them, so travel is a big spend category for baby boomers.
Into retirement age, so that makes sense.
And, they're still healthy, so they're getting just ready to retire. And we all know that the first 10 years of retirement, you tend to spend more because you're healthy. You want to do the things you've never gotten to do. Where the second half of retirement, usually people want to be more home. They're not wanting to go out as much, so their spending reduces drastically.
It'd be interesting to see how their spending habits may have changed in this category from pre-COVID to after COVID. Like, I wonder how many baby boomers now do spend more money on healthcare.
For sure.
In changing their lifestyle as far as food consumption, vitamins, that sort of thing. If that, didn't that maybe change for all of us?
Well, and all the clients I meet with pretty much on the financial wealth side, the wealth management side, they want to start traveling, and they're willing this year to even forego, they don't want COVID to change it because rightly so. They're like, Shannon, I don't know how many years I have left. I want to do these trips.
Yeah.
So, I was willing to delay things maybe for a year, 18 months, but time's ticking away.
Sure.
And I want to do this. So I think travel is what I see a lot of. Still housing is what I see. Healthcare.
The housing thing surprises me.
And still new cars. Like, I see a lot of baby boomers still wanting to get the latest and greatest, continue to kind of go with the new instead of,
The housing
what
thing
they
does
got.
surprise me because I would think they'd be so close to maybe paying off their mortgages.
Yeah, I would say that's probably the third or fourth on the
Okay.
list. But yeah,
Interesting.
they like to spend. So,
Hey, go baby
have at
boomers.
it.
Get it.
But what does challenge boomers, and we'll go through this next week of what to do about it. But boomers, because they had to live through the Great Recession, and we talked about this last show in the 2008, which was called the Great Recession. A lot of their failed investments took a lot of momentum out of their retirement. They have mostly recovered from that, but think of how many also industries failed. The airline industry, so many pensions got absorbed through that.
Right.
A lot of companies went out of business where they were planning to retire one way and then had to kind of scramble over the last 15 years to make up what they lost, to make
maybe
up their
work
pension
longer.
that they lost, work longer.
Yeah.
And boomers are working longer. I think it's about 29% of boomers are still in the workforce or looking for a job in the workforce.
Yeah.
So, which is why, like next week, we're going to spend a little time kind of boomers versus millennials because there's
we're
this
not doing
like
that today.
no, there's like
Dang
this
it.
inner competition between the two because they're very large groups. So boomers are about, like I said, 74 million. Some estimates say 76 million people, where millennials are like 72 million. So they're right neck and neck. And it's millennials that are coming into the workforce to replace boomers. And or boomers are working so long that they're taking jobs that millennials are coming out of college and wanting. So it's interesting that this kind of competitive vibe you tend
And then
to
there's
see
the
out
Gen
there.
Xers.
And then there's the Gen Xers, which is both of us. And what I love about the Gen Xers is we're kind of like the pepeacemakers. We're trying. I've
We're
read
the
so many.
spenders is what
we are
we
the
are.
spenders. Well, but when you think about it, so Gen Xers, if you've been, were born between 1965 and 1980, you're the baby of the Gen Xers.
Pre-April
57 to 41.
Then you're a Gen Xer. If you're April
April's
beyond,
living by the skins of her teeth
You
in the
are a
millennial
millennial.
transition into the Gen Xers. But
Yeah.
Gen Xers, there's 65 million of us. And Gen Xers are the best savers. We save on average 16% versus less
Really?
than 10
Oh,
in both
that's-
boomers
I'm looking
and
at the spending
millennials.
charts here.
So we almost save half as much more than millennials and boomers.
But according to studies, we're also spending the most.
Well, when you
Are we
think about
making
it,
the
though,
most?
if you're 41 to 57 right now, you're at your kind of prime earning spot in
That's
life.
true. Yeah.
So you make the most money in that window. So you're, when we go over the budget things, know how much you should be saving, know how much you should be
Yeah.
putting in your retirement accounts, because that window of earning power, if you don't make the most of it, how many, we have some clients, how many 60-year-olds or 58-year-olds come into our office and they're a little panicked because they haven't saved enough. And
Sure.
they're looking for different ways and ways to leverage their business and their income.
And now they've suddenly realized, I don't want to work forever.
I don't want to work until
Yeah.
my last dying breath, So, and boomers are living longer, which is also one of their main challenges. We talked about living through the Great Recession, but they're living longer and they have more health care to pay for. And health care, obviously, it's not going down.
No,
So that's,
so expensive.
so when we compare different spending trends, so we talked a little bit about the Gen Xers. Millennials are 1981 to 1996. So if you're 26 to 40, which are right.
41. 41.
I didn't tell anyone
Google
how old
said
you
it.
are, but 40 to 26 to 40, you are a millennial. And I think millennials are some of the deep dive that we'll spend there. They're so different from Gen Xers and boomers. Gen Xers and boomers spend money. They tend to spend money on the same things. Gen Xers are the highest spenders in housing, in utilities and housekeeping, in food,
Entertainment.
transportation, entertainment,
Apparel and personal care. Yep.
Shockingly,
Self-care.
alcohol and tobacco use was same across the board pretty much.
Yeah. All the Gen Xers are taking a little bit
We
by the
all
lead there,
listening
but
can appreciate a good glass of wine or what have you.
whatever your beverage of choice
That's
is.
right. but they're, again, Gen Xers, highest annual savers and make the most money.
Yeah, that surprises me, actually.
But what's interesting about millennials, and I don't know why I always giggle when I talk about millennials. I feel like some people come after millennials so much that they've kind of branded
they get attacked.
Their reputation a little bit.
Do you feel attacked, Kelly? Yeah,
Do
as
you?
a millennial?
Yeah.
Me
I know.
too.
Like I have two little sisters. We share the same dad, and they are millennials, and I get such a kick out of it because they're faces of millennials to me. Like, I see how they live their lives, and they're super responsible. They're educated. They're, I think millennials get this reputation of kind of being clueless and not good with money and
irresponsible,
not hardworking.
I think they're called snowflakes most of the time. Have you heard that? I'm
have
serious.
heard that.
Millennials are called snowflakes. I'm not saying it, but I think they get that. They get a bad
they
rap.
definitely have a different vibe. I think they go after life a little differently. And one of the things that shocked me most about doing some of this pre-work, and we'll get into more of this next week, but they don't own anything, and they don't want to own anything.
No, they rent.
They rent everything.
Wardrobe, clothes. Like, did you know you can rent clothes, Kelly?
Cars, apartments.
How are you really a millennial?
Like, they want to still have the image. They still want nice things, but they want to rent it to. And what I do appreciate about their philosophy, they want to stay within their budget, so they're not willing to carry as much debt as like a boomer is. But see, I don't know if I want to rent my clothes.
I read this too. Wait, are you a millennial?
I was just going to say, I think you and I need to switch. Because I would rather, so I'm 36, so I'm the higher end of millennial.
Yeah.
And I'm listening to Gen X, and I'm like, if you want to be a millennial so bad, April, you can switch me.
Switch the slots.
I'll go to Gen X, you can come down to millennial.
Yeah. Well, I think so. You are technically a millennial.
I'm the older, just like you're the young, very youngest end of Gen X. I'm the older end of millennial.
Very young end, he said. Yes, that's true. It is. I couldn't believe what
he's on the young end.
Well,
I'm on the old end. April's on the young end.
The young end of Gen X, but the old end of millennials.
I'm fine with that. But it's interesting. So millennials rent entire wardrobes.
Yep.
They rent furniture. I think this is this is so not part of my thinking. So
not like a old school layaway model, but like renting to never own, just renting to borrow.
But see, in my mind, like I was reading that too, how they want to stay in budget.
Which I like. I like that about them.
But I struggle with that piece of it because if you want to me, they're renting. Are they also renting because they want to be able to have things that maybe are higher end or like as the renting of the wardrobe so they can rent these high-end designer brands and then you get to return them. So is it more about a facade? Sorry. I didn't want that to come off wrong. Not a facade. They want to have these super nice things, but they don't care if they never own them. So the fact that they rent them and turn them back in, they got to enjoy their Gucci handbag and their Chanel shoes, but they can turn it back in because they really don't have a hold on those things.
Right.
They just want to be able to wear them for a while.
They're all, me, I think they're very much motivated by lifestyle. And this is their reputation in the workplace. They want more flexibility. They don't want to work as hard and long as a boomer or a Gen Xer. They have different boundaries where I think flexibility is more important, work-life balance is more important. They've come up in a genre where, most of them are in therapy, which is great. Like they're living a more balanced life, which I think is really healthy.
Did you just say most of them?
It's true. It's one of their things is like therapy is one of their big spending categories, which if you ask a baby boomer about therapy,
that was more taboo with baby boomers.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
They don't. It's taboo with Gen Xers.
Oh, it's not. I think they're in the middle. Yeah.
I would say on the men's side it is.
For a Gen Xer?
Mm-hmm.
It's more taboo? Really?
Therapy for a man. Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay. Huh.
But baby boomers, most baby boomers, I know that when I've disclosed that I've been in therapy before and they're like, why do you need that stuff? That's just hooey.
I've been asked that before by a baby boomer. That's fair. I'm like, in my mind, I always think, aren't we all in therapy? Don't we all need therapy?
We all need it.
Seriously.
We're not all in it, but hey, a little tune-up every now and then
there's nothing wrong with
good.
Yeah, I think there's nothing wrong with therapy.
Absolutely.
I think it's healthy.
And the other thing that surprised me about millennials,
I know
I'm
what you're
giving
about
it
to
all
say.
away. We're
I know
going
what
to
you're about
actually
to
go
say.
deep. What do you think I'm going to say?
Egg freezing.
No.
Oh, sorry. That's a big one for millennials that they spend money on is egg
spend
freezing.
Yeah, that's right. Because they're working longer and they want to delay having families.
Yeah.
But the other big spend item for them is plastic surgery.
That surprises you?
Yes, because they're the youngest of the 3 generations we're talking about.
Yeah, like, but think social media. And
that's why.
So they want to preserve the youth. Yes. They don't actually ever want to look older.
They don't ever want to age.
Yeah.
Where we're like aged and then we're like, oh, how do we dial back the clock?
How do we backpedal on this?
They don't even want the clock to tick. So,
see, that didn't surprise me at all.
Oh, that makes me kind of sad. Like I don't know, because
let's be careful what they identify in these articles as plastic surgery too. I don't believe
is what they were talking about. Sure, no. Yeah. But injectables, and when you look, if you watch any kind of celebrity under the age of 30, she looks older because she's a lot done up. He or she, not just she's, but with injectables, they get their lips done. They're getting Botox. They're getting Dysport. They're getting all the things to lift things that are already lifted, which is why I'm a little frustrated with them about it. There's beauty in looking youthful, and I think that plastic look honestly makes them look a little older.
Well, I think what a lot of them, and I think that should be more called aesthetics, because I don't believe a lot of them are going under the knife at that age.
I know plastic surgery is
they're being
broad
contoured
category.
more than they're doing anything. It's not even. I mean, they might be getting Botox and stuff, but I doubt even more fillers are probably getting more contoured by things, which still is sad. But that does not surprise me because they're always on social media looking at how they're supposed to look at all the air filtered faces that you can do whatever you want to, and they think they need to look that way.
No doubt. Well, and you talk about challenges, and we'll spend more time next show on the challenges of each of these generational categories. I think one of the challenges is if you're starting out of the gate and they're babies like this, what are you going to do when you hit 50? What are you going to do? If you're starting on these kind of slippery slopes now.
Are we talking about aesthetics still?
Yeah. And just kind of overall image. I think overall brand management and image. Because they grew up in the age of social media. I get it. It's harder. It's a different walk.
You're right. They really have this brand management just with their image.
Yeah. And it'll be interesting as they get older. Will it dwindle or will it ramp up all the more? I don't know.
We'll see.
I hope for their sake it dwindles.
Well, you can only do so much.
I know.
I mean, never mind. I have a funny meme. I'm not going to share it on the show. I'll tell you when we're off air.
Oh, that's no fun.
No. Well, yeah, no. It's one of those.
It crosses the line.
It might cross the line. We'll think it's funny.
If it doesn't, we'll share it next week. But again, spending for the ages. We wanted to kind of at least touch on this topic today. Lay out the framework. We're going to be focusing next show on boomers, what challenges are, what their tendencies are, what are some potholes, if you're a boomer out there, what you want to steer clear of. Same with Gen Xers. What do you want to be mindful of? If you're making all this money but spending all this money, there's going to come some calls to your life if you're not taking the necessary steps to save some of this money.
Yeah.
And then millennials. Blessed millennials, what can
we
impart in wisdom?
We weren't calling you out today.
We want to, we're using the wisdom that we have on you to kind of, from the bad lessons we learned, to kind of pass them along. They won't listen, but we can at least pass them along.
Oh my gosh, did you hear that, millennials? I never would have said that. I just want to say personally that she does not speak. I'm just kidding.
We didn't listen when our older elders told us what to do either.
We didn't. Gen Xers didn't listen to baby boomers. Millennials aren't going to listen to Gen Xers. I have a question for both of our millennials in the room. Can I put you on the spot? What do you? I'm totally am. What do you like to spend the most of your money on?
That's a good question,
Ryan.
Well, other than my kids, because I spoil my kids to the nth degree, and it's terrible for them because now they're entitled. But,
sure.
For myself, I would probably say shoes.
Do you own your shoes or do you rent your shoes?
I own my shoes. The renting thing is very foreign to me. Although I like to get a lot of white shoes. So now that I'm thinking about it, maybe I should rent the shoes because once they lose some of their whiteness, it's I don't really want to wear them anymore. But can you rent white shoes? Because
I'm sure you can rent anything.
Do you want to put your feet in something somebody else's feet have been in?
I've bought used shoes before.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's where I draw the line. So my younger brother is about 6 years younger than me, and he and his fiance go to Goodwill for clothes and everything.
Yeah.
And I don't. I'll go for Well, nothing. Yeah, nothing. I won't get
missing out,
furniture.
Ryan.
I was thinking
You
that
wash it.
You can
It's
get some
sanitized.
yeah,
no,
amazing
I know,
finds.
and they tell me all the time. No
husband's
clothes,
the same
absolutely
way.
not.
Yeah.
Furniture, it would have to be something really.
Are you a germaphobe?
Not really.
Totally. Okay.
Just
He just doesn't like,
Wait till you see those ticket
cool
prices,
stuff.
though.
yeah.
Just saying. Kel, what do you spend your money on?
My adult answer is my mortgage, but my fun answer.
Your real answer
owns.
is
Yeah, she
She
isn't.
owns. We have.
My fun answer is camping gear.
Okay.
camping gear. That's a
so
good
cool.
idea.
We just learned something more about Kelly.
Yeah,
I love learning.
love it.
Okay,
I
so
love
they
it. Well, good.
actually
So that's-
don't. They're very different millennials. They own. They don't rent.
That's right. Which is good to not pigeonhole anybody.
No,
But there
we're
are,
not.
we're coming from studies that have studied this stuff and taken surveys and really put it to some specific numbers that at least give us a heads up of
Yeah.
if we're in a certain category. Here's are some pitfalls generationally
Yeah.
based on the majority
Okay.
where you need to be careful and look out for. So we're going to talk more about these spending habits and pitfalls on next show.
Okay.
But before we do that, again, every show we like to remind our listeners,
Yep.
subscribe. We're on YouTube. Ding. We're on Instagram. We have copytalkpodcast.com. If you need help, if you want to plan, so many boomers that I'm having conversations with these days, as I bring them into Lighthouse, they have assets, but they don't have a plan. They don't know how much their annual budget should be so that they don't outlast their money. And so if you need a plan, come to our website and we can build one for you. We have all the tools that you need in order to navigate some of these challenges. If you are a boomer in retirement, getting ready to retire. And that's why we started this show, to give financial education and to make people laugh.
Absolutely.
And to have a good time, you
But
know?
you know, you millennials, you youngsters, it's never too early to start a plan for you either.
That's right. And if you start saving young, if you can start saving in your 20s,
Yeah.
oh my goodness, what a game changer.
Yeah. I
So-
wish I knew that. It's fine. It's no big deal.
So we will spend more time on that next show.
We need a
What
hashtag.
else?
He was ready.
I know.
love it.
No,
Love it.
I'm
No.
not.
You're not?
April is a millennial. Hashtag.
I love it. I love my
She
name is a
wishes
hashtag.
No, it's not my best today. I'm
Let's
sorry.
we should hashtag April is a millennial if you believe me. and because if you're a millennial, you should do that because Shannon totally called you out on this show.
did.
Or
But I love them. I
we
want
should
to
also
help them.
hashtag make a plan
Make a plan.
like that.
Yeah,
That's
Timeless.
it's not as fun.
Isn't that? But that would be a hashtag, evergreen hashtag for you guys.
That's true because
Every
we're
week.
always saying
That's right.
It.
But that's
Make
a good
plan
thing.
is one of
I
our
like it.
mottos.
yeah.
So, okay, so next show we'll go into more of the depths of the
Pitfalls.
pitfalls and the opportunities, whatever generation you fall in. And I love to learn from one another. So I'm sure we will learn from millennials some things in between now and next week's show,
Yeah.
and boomers, and all the things. So
We'll
thank you
laugh
for
some more next
joining.
week.
Exactly. Have
Thank
a
you,
great
everybody.
week. We'll see you next time.
Discussions in this show should not be construed as specific recommendations or investment advice. Always consult with your investment professional before making important investment decisions. Securities offered through registered representatives of Cambridge Investment Research Incorporated, a broker-dealer member FINRA SIPC. Advisory services through Cambridge Investment Research Advisors Incorporated, a registered investment advisor. Financial planning services through Lighthouse Financial LLC, a registered investment advisor. Shannon Ross is CEO and managing partner of Lighthouse Financial. Lighthouse and Cambridge are not affiliated.